Hey, kindergarten. Now that we've done our grapple and our fluency, we are all warmed up and ready to get started with today's learning target. So our learning target today says I can compose and decompose numbers to 5 using number bonds, fingers, and objects. So our two big words in our learning target that we need to know today are compose and decompose. And these are words that we've looked at the last couple of days, but I want to remind you what these words mean. So the word compose means put together. So you can see here 2 and 3 make 5. So if I'm imagining composing, I might take my two hands separately and put them together. 2 and 3 make 5. Okay. If you need to do that motion to help you remember, go for it. The next one is decompose, and decompose means take apart or break down. So for decompose, I grab my two hands up here, they're together to start, and I say decompose, decompose, break it on down, break it on down. Okay, go ahead and do those to help yourself warm up and remember what each one means. Now, today you are going to need a few materials. You're going to need a way to draw a number bond. So you might do it on a whiteboard or a sheet of paper, anywhere where you can draw the number bond. And then you're going to need 5 objects that are small. So I have 5 small crayons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You might use Legos or little pieces of Play-Doh. You might use cubes or even little tiny strips of paper. You just need 5 of them so that you can move them. Okay. All right, well, let's start by drawing our number bond on our board. So to draw a number bond, you can see on my screen, you're going to draw a circle on the top. Then you're going to draw 2 lines that are coming off. Those are like the 2 paths, and then circles at the bottom. So take a minute and make sure that you get your number bond drawn. This you need to do before you do any other part today. So I'm going to pause and give you a minute to draw your number bonds. All right, now we're going to think of some party stories like we did yesterday, and we are going to use our objects as well as our fingers to help us show these stories. So my first story is about a party again, and I'm going to imagine that 4 students were at this party. So I'm going to put them all in the hole. Just remember there's the whole and then there's the parts. So now you can take your 4 objects and put them in the hole. I know it's the hole if it has 2 lines connected to it. So I'm going to put those 4 into the hole. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Now, once I have those 4 in the parts, I'm in the hole, I'm going to imagine that 3 of them go home together and 1 of them go to a different house. So maybe let's pretend that Isabella and Annalisa and Miss O'Donnell all go to Isabella's house. So there's 3 in that house. And then Olivia goes to her house because her mom is waiting for her. Show that in your number bond with your number parts. So take your objects and move 3 to one of the parts and 1 to the other part. Now in math, if we wanted to put this in a number sentence, we would say 4, because we had 4 all together, is blank and blank. 4 is made up of 2 parts, and the parts were 3 and 1. So we would say 4 is 3 and 1. Now we can imagine the same story, but in a slightly different way. We can imagine there are 4 friends back at the party, but instead of 3 going together and 1 going back to the house alone, we can put 2 over here and 2 over here. I decided I wanted to come to Olivia's house with her. It seemed like a fun time. So we still had 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 all together, but this time I did 2 and 2. So I would say, whoops, 4 is 2 and 2. All right, I want you to try this now with a group of 5. So I want you to start with 5 objects in the whole and come up with a way that you might break it up into parts. So instead of putting 4 there, you're going to put 5 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Decide how many are going to go in the first part and how many are going to go in your second part. Okay, I'm going to try something. I'm going to put 1 over here and the rest of them over here. So I said 5 is 1 and 4. Did you try a different way? What if instead of 1 over there, we put 2 over there? 5 is 2 and 3. Or what if we put all of them over there? So we started with 5 and we just all wanted to go to Annalisa's house because it looked fun. So we said, you know what? We're just all going to go over here. So we had 5 all together. And when I broke it into parts, I had 5 over here. And how many over here? 0. So 5 is 5 and 0. All right, the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to model the story one more time, and we're going to use our fingers too. So let's pretend now that we just have 3. Decide how many you're going to put in each part. How many are going to go to this part and how many are going to go to this part. Go ahead and move them when you're ready. I'm going to put 1 here and 2 here. So I said 3 is 1 and 2. Make sure you say a whole sentence for what you've got. 3 is something and something. Okay, now I want you to use your 2 hands, your 2 parts to show how many parts were on each hand. So show the parts on of how many were in this part on one hand and how many were in this part on the other hand. For me, I had 1 and 2. So 3 is 1 and 2. If you did something else, show that on your fingers. If I were coloring this in on a hand to show what I'm thinking, I would show that I had 1 finger on this hand and 2 fingers on this hand. 1 and 2. All right. If you feel good about this, you feel like you understand this, then you can go to the next slide. If you feel like you need a little more practice, then keep experimenting with starting some in the whole and moving some to the parts. And then tell your family something is blank and blank to show the parts. And try not to make it fall on the ground like I did. All right. Good luck, everybody.